Welcome to another episode of the King's Court Podcast, or as we call it, the Bethesda Brothers Podcast. I am the KingFanMan, and I'm joined with my partner in crime, Brother Joey Caps Gaming. How you doing, Brother Joe?
I'm doing good, King. How are you? How was everything? Listen, hold on. I had the forbidden disease.
The forbidden disease?
Yeah, I had that.
And you survived.
I did.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. You've been in my prayers, and I'm so glad you're doing better. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Haven't talked to you in a while. Did you have a good Christmas?
It was. I had a blessed Christmas.
Other than having the big C.
Yeah, I had a blessed Christmas. I really did. It was nice. And you?
I did. We had a good time. Didn't do very much. Stayed around, just family, friends, but it was wonderful. Took time off. Just did my first stream, so I'm back at doing YouTube, and now we're here doing our podcast. So I'm excited to jump back with both feet. And today, man, do we have a subject? We're going to talk about the future of Bethesda, but mainly the future of Fallout 76, because really not because we know anything. This is going to be really more conjecture and basically what's been going on for the last few months. But content has slowed down, as you know. Jeff Gardiner, the lead at Austin Studio, obviously left. So some things are kind of strange. Bethesda has been not really giving us much information about what's going on with Fallout 76. And as I say, not hardly any new content. The only new content that we've had since about September, October, is the Mothman Equinox event. Now, other people would be quick to say, no, we've had more than that. We've had the Spooky Scorched, and we've had, listen, the Spooky Scorched, the Holiday Scorched, the Treasure Hunters, all of those are reskins of something we've had the first year, okay? I'm talking about something that's brand new to the game. Because they've even stopped giving us new things in the Atomic Shop, which, used to we would get something every Tuesday. We would have new things in the Atomic Shop. And for months now, we're just getting old stuff back in the Atomic Shop. So people are starting to grumble, and we're not going to be grumbling today. I'm not griping about anything. What we are doing, though, we are going to be wondering about what's going on at Bethesda, what's going on about with Xbox. Has something changed since Xbox has acquired Bethesda? Has something changed with the plan about Fallout 76? If you remember, through the first year and even after, they said this was a game that they wanted to last for 10 years. Is that still the case? With that said, I'm going to turn it over to Brother Joe. Do you believe it is still the case that Bethesda and Phil Spencer at Microsoft want Fallout 76 to last for 10 years?
I mean, you have to look at the facts, right? And I know your channel has been built from 76, right? But you have to look at the facts and what's been presented to us, and what's been presented to us, or lack thereof, is alarming.
It is,
to say the least. It really is alarming. And all we know is the pit is coming, and that's it. By this time, you mentioned in your live stream, King, by this time, I think we should have at least a roadmap, for the upcoming year, right? We should at least know that, and we don't. We don't have any idea. Now, wasn't there a DLC that the Alien DLC that was pushed back, right?
Yes.
So maybe we're going to be getting that along with the pit.
If you don't mind me stopping you, we did get a first quarter roadmap, okay?
All right.
This is what we know that is coming. Now, it looks really nice, okay? It's got a lot of words on it.
When was this?
It was given out in December,
All right.
and it gives us January through March. Yeah, it was January through March. It looks really good. It's got a lot of words on it.
Got a lot of words and
Yeah.
colors. Go on.
In January, we have the Hunt for the Treasure Hunter. Again, that's something that we've had for a long time. It's also a reskin of a older event.
Yeah.
In February, that's the only thing in January, other than double score, script surplus, all that kind of stuff. In February, we have the Foshnot, which of course we've had since the very first year. It's a good thing, but that is all we have that month. Then in March, we are told that we have the Treasure Hunter again, and we're told that there is an update, okay? New update, new season, and a new seasonal event. That's all we're told. Now, is this going to be the alien thing who knows? I mean, they were as vague as possible. And this, by the way, this is the first time they've been this vague with this kind of roadmap. So all we know is we've got the Treasure Hunter twice, we've got the Foshnot once, and we've got an update in March. That's all we know. That's the roadmap that we have. And most years, as you said, we've already got the yearly roadmap for what's coming by this time. So that is a definite change. Now continue, and I didn't mean to interrupt you in your thought.
No, it's fine. It's just we do have some stuff slated that we think, because they never said that those things aren't coming, so we have to keep that in mind. But it is quite alarming that we haven't heard anything. That the last big update, honestly, besides the Equinox thing, whatever, was Fallout Worlds, and that fell flat on its face.
It did.
I mean, it's tough to get into something when your progress, when everything Fallout 76 is a game where you have to grind, you have to earn, right? You have to earn what you get in the game. That's the whole point of it. That's the fun. Fallout Worlds takes all that out. It takes all that out. You can't grind anymore in Worlds because nothing carries over, and rightfully so, I guess. But it's just it was very frustrating, and it frustrated a lot of people because they killed the mode in Nuclear Winter. They killed that mode for literally, honestly, I don't think for any reason other than they wanted to put something flashy in that they thought would bring in new players, and it didn't, and it hasn't worked. It fell flat on its face, man.
I'm glad you bring up Nuclear Winter. That's another thing. I never played Nuclear Winter that often, but here was a thing that didn't take that many resources to keep up, I wouldn't think. But yet they took that away because they said they wanted to, and this was their own words, they wanted to dedicate the resources that would have gone into Nuclear Winter for new content. Well, how long has Nuclear Winter been gone, and we're still waiting on the new content. Again, everything we're getting, everything that I've named on the whole first quarter. Now, let it sink in. The whole first quarter of 2022 is all stuff that's been in the game for 3 years. Treasure Hunter, Foshnot, everything. Nothing new.
Like you're gonna get mad.
Not thing new.
You're making me nervous. Go on. I don't like that look.
Not even anything new in the Atomic Shop. Even stuff they're trying to sell is not new. That's what's very scary. I mean, they're literally not doing anything new. Now, the question is, so it's obvious they've pulled back on personnel at Austin. I like your Scorch Beast. I like that.
Thank you.
The question is why? And it comes down to two things. There can only really be two reasons. I'll get in. Maybe you can come up with another one. One reason I'm hearing is, and this is not from Bethesda, this is from people in the community. Well, maybe Austin is helping Maryland work on Starfield. Maybe they've just stopped work.
Good Lord, go on.
And hey, Joe, I hope this is the reason. If this is the reason, I'm going to breathe a sigh of relief and say, thank you. They'll get back to 76 once Starfield's out. I'll be happy. Now, it'd be terrible that they put 76 on the back burner for a year. You cannot do that with an online game, but anyway. But if that's the reason, I'll still breathe a sigh of relief, because any other reason is horrific, okay? Because if it's not them working on Starfield, what are we left with? We're left with Xbox has come in and said, we're pulling the funding from 76. In other words, when Xbox took over, and this is about when everything started changing with Fallout 76, I'm sure Phil Spencer and all the people there in high management started looking at how much they were spending on keeping the Austin studio open and how much Fallout 76 was making, and they had a decision to make. This was about the time that Jeff Gardiner left, by the way. You can start putting two and two together. Did they start pulling back on the funding then? Did they start making cuts to the Austin studio at that point?
Do you mind if I can interject?
Is there only a small skeleton crew working at Austin now? Not because of Starfield, but because Xbox has cut the money. Go ahead.
I mean, a lot of that was hardcore speculation. Our buddy
It all
Skolzy
is. Yeah.
would be proud.
Yeah.
Hardcore speculation there.
And the reason is, quickly, it's because we haven't been told anything. I wish they would tell us something.
Lack of communication absolutely stinks. Now, if you're going to tell me, King, now I don't care what anybody has to say. They could put their gloves on, right? Put their glasses on, push them up, and say,
Oh, well, they're doing it for this reason and that reason only, and you should know that because you make YouTube videos.
listen, if you're going to tell me that the reason why 76, if they're pulling off of that game, if you're going to tell me that it's because they're working on Starfield, I'm sick of the excuse. When you made that excuse for Fallout, that all hands on deck for one assignment for Fallout 4, when you made that excuse years ago,
they had one
there
studio.
were 100 people in your freaking studio.
Yeah,
now you quadrupled
studio.
the size. You quadrupled the size now.
It's
so
big.
I don't want to hear that.
Joe, it's bigger than that. Not only have they made 4 more studios, each studio's bigger too. So,
yeah, so I don't want to hear that.
I know.
They need to, if they backed off of 76 and they want this to survive, because King, they can't take a year away from an online game.
No.
An online game is like a pet. You need to feed your pet. If you don't feed your pet, what happens, King?
It dies.
What happens?
It dies.
They die. You gotta feed it. So they better have a very good reason as to why they've been in the dark, as to why we don't know anything about the future for 76. And stop taking the diehard fans' money away when it comes to Fallout First and all this mumbo-jumbo microtransactions. Give us something, because your diehard fans are starting to get really ticked off. They are. You're one of them, King.
I think we're worried more than ticked. I think we're concerned about the future of the game.
Being mad, you have every right to be upset, though.
Yeah,
that comes with being worried.
We've put 3 years into a game that we thought was going to last 10, and now all of a sudden it's just been ripped out from under us, it seems like.
Possibly.
Possibly,
yeah.
yes. Now,
Possibly.
Again, hopefully.
We don't know.
Hopefully, this is all just a passing little thing. I'm still going to wonder what these last few months were all about, if they do.
Yeah,
if it was the Starfield thing, I'm with you. I think it's crazy because I go back to the words of Chris Meyer where he said that these kind of games live and die with new content. And you're absolutely right. They do. They live and die. Just when Fallout 76 was getting its legs, getting new players, they had for the first time positive ratings on Metacritic and all that. Well, yay, we were doing great. This starts happening, and you just want to pull your hair out. You know,
Well, if I had any,
but
I could pull my beard.
but new player growth was growing. Everything was on the uptick. It looked like 76 was just going to start taking off the way ESO did back within its second or third year, and now we're slowing down to a crawl, and we shouldn't be. And it may not be. This is, again, let's don't go full out saying the game's dead. It may not be, but they need to be communicating. Here we are sitting in January. All that we know is that through March we don't have anything coming to us that hadn't been here since the very first of the game. You know, if there is new stuff coming, tell us. When is it coming?
Think about this. What the Brotherhood of Steel stuff came out in July, right? July 7th.
Yeah, I think so.
It was my anniversary for my wedding. My wedding anniversary is how I know that. So July the 7th was our last big content update. What, Steel Reign, I think?
Yeah.
Right? The second part, the Brotherhood of Steel.
Yep.
So that would almost mark a year from when, or at least like 8-9 months from when we got a full-fledged, hefty, nice content update. Now, if you don't want to call Steel Reign a hefty update, then we're talking it's been a freaking year, because then we're talking about what, Steel Dawn, right? Well, when was that?
No, I'll let Steel Reign be a hefty update. I think it was. I mean,
okay.
It was.
So
yeah.
it's 8-9 months since.
Yeah.
At that point, that's if we're getting content in April. If we don't even know that,
right?
So they might go another 3 months with the stupid mumbo jumbo brand new scoreboard. Sweet, thank you for the 8th one. Yawn. I'm sorry, but it's boring now. Give us the pit.
Yes.
What is the pit? I want to know.
Okay, let's get back into the conjecture that you love so much. Going back to conjecture, could it then possibly be, as I said, being that Jeff Gardiner, and again, I hate to just keep bringing him up, but he is the lead of the studio, the last lead of the studio. We have not had another one named since. Can you believe that? I mean, he's been gone quite a while now.
Yeah.
But he left pretty quickly after everything was announced and settled and all that. Could this be the reason for his departure, that they cut funding to the Austin studio and they didn't need an expensive lead director anymore?
See, now you're starting to open up a bag that you don't want to open.
I know.
Because then if you say that, King,
then where we go after that? Yeah.
It's like then now we're almost dead in the water.
Yep.
It's you wonder why the fish aren't biting, is because they're freaking dead.
Yep.
They can't bite. Again,
that's why the community is so worried. When your Fallout First members that's paid $100 a year gets a freaking filing cabinet for their free gift,
I know.
Yeah, it's bad.
I'm one of them. King, I pay $200 a year.
I do too. I got the Xbox.
For the PC and Xbox.
I do too. So I got 2 filing cabinets.
I'm a fool.
I said I was not going to gripe. I said I was worried not griping. That was griping. I'm sorry. I griped just a little bit.
But you could sometimes.
Yeah, I griped just a little bit. That was a little griping.
My Scorched Beast Larry says it's okay.
No, and I guess that's what gets me worried when people say, oh, you're worrying about nothing. Listen, when they're not even putting new content on the Atomic Shop, and this is stuff they're trying to sell to make money for the game, then that shows you there's nobody there working. I mean, that would be a priority to me. If the game needs to make money then you need to put new stuff in the atomic shop, right?
Yeah, like why haven't? Do you know what shocks me? Why haven't we received like, even though it might be lore breaking? I mean, half of the stuff is though, honestly. Why haven't we gotten like a Fallout New Vegas Atomic Shop update or Fallout 3 Atomic Shop update? Like, why can't I be walking around in the wasteland with a Joshua Graham getup? That would be so cool, right? I'm already an NCR Ranger, like an NCR, soldier at that point.
Yeah.
Why can't I just walk around the wasteland? Like, my point is, they have so much where they could pick from their actual franchise that they're not utilizing.
Well, and I think that's what people see, and that's what I see. The game has so much possibility, and we've said this all along. And they're just starting to scratch the surface on. If we're truly looking at the beginning of the end of this game, I think it's heartbreaking. It is absolutely heartbreaking to think that 3 years into a 10-year project where a lot of it was wasted, by the way, in those 3 years, but that's another podcast too. That's heartbreaking. And is it because of Microsoft and their decision making? They said from the beginning they were going to let Bethesda run their own thing. They were going to let Bethesda do their business. Well, is that really happening then? Is that going to happen with other games? Again, more conjecture, but you have to. If they're not telling you what's going on, you have to.
I got to be honest with you, though. Can you blame them? Because if you spend the money that you spent, and if you don't see things being run a certain way that you want it to be ran how you want it, then you know what? They're going to change something. And the bottom line, that's all that matters. How much money are you making me? I want a return on that investment, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I want.
I agree with you, but let me give you a good old Southern saying: you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You don't.
What? Who's doing that? I'm not.
You do throw the dirty bathwater out, but you keep the baby. Yeah. The baby is Fallout 76. You've got a game that has the potential of being an ESO. Look what ESO is doing. Look, they just announced a new DLC that's coming out. The shame of it is, and I said this on my last live stream, if Fallout 76 model was to charge people for the DLCs instead of giving them free, would we be sitting here with no content? Did I say that?
I know. And you could argue that maybe we would have received even better content.
Well, of course.
More in-depth content.
Well, of course.
More like Wastelanders style content.
Yes.
We haven't received that great of an update since. We haven't. Not one of their updates have come close to Wastelanders. And I don't care what anybody says.
Okay.
I've been playing the game since launch.
Okay, me and you got in the weeds a little bit before the podcast started, and I hate to even go here and think about Fallout 76 stopping because I'm not giving up on it yet. I hope they're just working on Starfield, something, maybe they're just not communicating something,
Okay, that.
But let's make it terrible and say that Fallout 76 is coming to an end because Xbox says so. Number one, what are they going to do with Fallout 76? Is it just over? Does it just end? And number two, what does that mean for the future of Fallout?
So, I mean, you already know what I'm about to say, but your people don't. So here we go.
Correct.
I think that they're going to look at it like, okay, do we keep this game alive and just keep the servers on? Or do we save that money over long term, convert this game into an offline game with an option for co-op, just like, let's say, a Borderlands, right? And then that's it. That's to the extent of it. And then you have your single-player offline Fallout experience with co-op. You could mod it any way you want. And it's just like a regular Fallout game. It's like a regular single-player Fallout game. Do they do that? Or
do they let it die?
Is it gone?
Yeah.
Or do you keep the servers up without really ever updating it, and now you have to maintain these servers where it's like that might cost them more money in the long run.
Well, and let me make everybody feel better with this question. No matter when this happens, this is going to happen, no matter if it's this year or 7 years from now, okay? Fallout 76 is going to run to the end of its cycle. We know it's going to happen sometime. Again, we hope it's more 7 years than this year, but so let's just, to get everybody's anxiety level down a little bit. When 76 comes to the end of its cycle, how do they handle it? I love your idea of them turning it into that single player, yet with the option of co-op. I hope that's a thing that is possible. I think it is. I don't know how much cost it would be to do that, but it would be wonderful to be able to have the Fallout 76 experience there for the next generation or newer players. To be able to play it, for us to be able to still go back and play it, to go back and mod it.
Imagine not being able to go back to play an old Fallout game.
I know it. And 76 now being the first of that line, and how much we've learned out of Fallout 76. So whenever it is, whenever Fallout 76 comes to the end, I hope they make a way without keeping the servers up that we can keep that game alive. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, no, I think that would be the perfect way.
Absolutely.
Make it into, an offline experience that you
yeah, and then we could
all the other games.
And then we could mod it just like you can the other games. Yeah, absolutely.
Like the lifespan just is infinite, pretty much. People still mod New Vegas and Fallout 3.
Okay, let's end the podcast with some good news, okay? Let's transition into some good news. Number one, today an article came out, by the way, that Fallout the TV show is still going forward.
Yes.
It's been delayed a little bit because of all the issues and everything, but they are going forward. So
know that.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm very much looking forward to that.
Delayed how much?
Well, the production is just starting now.
Yeah, I know that.
But they've got a lot of it written, so that's good. Yeah, but the actual producing of the episodes and all that is just now starting. So maybe we can see it by next fall. Maybe, hopefully, that would be great. That's great. Other good news. What me and Joe were talking about before the podcast. The future of Fallout series. And this kind of goes into the future of the Elder Scrolls 2 Bethesda. Maybe this might be more what we want, but I can see this happening with Xbox and Microsoft more now than ever before in its past. I've heard you say this, if not once, I've heard you say it probably 100 times. That you cannot believe that they're going to set and let Fallout or the Elder Scrolls or any of these series sit and be idle for 10 years ever again. And I agree with that because there's so much money in the Fallout series. There's so much money in the Elder Scrolls series. And now that, and you were mentioning this before the podcast, now that Bethesda is in with Xbox, there are so many of the old Fallout guys, we're talking about the original Black Isles guys, the original Fallout guys that are not just with Obsidian, but there are others that are spread out in Xbox. Could it be possible that maybe whether Bethesda gets them working with them or for them, one or the other way, that we could get a Fallout in production at almost all times. In other words, instead of having a online studio and a mobile studio and that's fine, okay, I understand that. But let's get a Fallout studio and an Elder Scrolls studio. How about that? So let's have a Fallout game under production and an Elder Scrolls game under production at all times.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Skyrim alone. Now, I'm not talking Elder Scrolls. I'm talking Skyrim. Yes, it has like 8,500 iterations, but it's made them billions of dollars.
Yes.
Skyrim, one game.
One game.
So to think that maybe they could make a studio that's just dedicated towards Elder Scrolls and then a studio that's dedicated towards Fallout isn't that far-fetched at all, because both of these studios make a ton of money. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You could go back to
Wait a minute. I can hear what people are saying. I can hear them. They're saying they're not going to do that. Look at what they've done in the past. It's taken 4 or 5 years per game. It's been over 10 years since Skyrim. They're not. I'm listening to y'all. I can hear it.
Yes, so was Larry.
But Larry the Scorched Beast. Things are different now under Microsoft. Microsoft starts with an M, and so does money. Okay, and that Microsoft is after the money. Yeah. And if there is one thing that I know that Microsoft will push for, is quicker turnaround on these blockbuster games. Why? Because they've already been announced that they are going to be exclusive to Microsoft and Game Pass, and Microsoft needs these games.
Listen, I have 3 names for you. 3 names in Microsoft, within the Microsoft organization.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the reasons why Microsoft purchased Bethesda. Tim Kaine, Brian Fargo, Boyarsky. The 3 names. They've all worked on the original Fallouts. Those guys are part of the reason why they made this big move. Because they just think, what if these dudes got their hands on that IP again?
Again. Yep. What
if we just let them have one last run? Just like if you're a wrestling fan, what if we brought back Stone Cold and just watch Stone Cold have one last run with the title, or The Rock have one last run with the title? Why don't we have these 3 dudes that are 3 huge reasons why Fallout is what it is today? They've made it such an impact on the franchise.
I'm down.
Why don't we have them make another game or be a part of it at least? That's what they're thinking.
Well, do you think that Xbox would be for that? Yes.
I think that's why they did it.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm WWE champion.
So we're just going to see, and again, this does, and you say, what does this have to do with what you started out with Fallout 76? We're going to see within the next, this year, we're going to see how pushy Microsoft is being with Bethesda. They said that they were going to let Bethesda do their own thing. Don't be fooled, okay? Microsoft is in charge. Microsoft is in charge. They're in charge of 76, and they're also in charge of Fallout and the Elder Scrolls. And what they want does matter. It does matter. It may be a bad thing for 76, but it may be a good thing on down the road for the Fallout franchise and for the Elder Scrolls. Well, Joe, I can't believe it. We've been going almost 35 minutes already. What do you have left to say about, I know we have a lot to say about these subjects, but do you have anything that's just dying to come out that you just got to say?
To be honest with you, not really. I think I'm gassed out.
You're done, huh?
I think I'm tired. I appreciate King as always having me on here. I love talking Bethesda, and I missed it so much, and I think this was a great way to whet my palate, if you will.
Absolutely.
and to bring me back to the fold. And I appreciate you having me on and allowing me to do that. So,
Absolutely.
hey, if I could plug my channel, if
Yes,
you guys
please do.
haven't, I do have my own channel, Joby Caps Gaming. Check it out if you haven't, and if you are sub, thanks. I appreciate that.
His
Content's coming.
His link will be in the description below, so y'all please go subscribe and watch all
Content is
all
coming.
of his videos twice. So I appreciate you being on, Joe. You know you are my friend and you are my brother, and I love you, and I'm glad you're feeling better. Thank you all for watching. This is the first episode of 2022, but hopefully not the last. We will be seeing you guys very soon. Bye, everybody.